does today mean for you, Nick?
It's a hugely important day. This is a game changer for London and for the country. It's a new system of transport that's going to hugely improve connectivity. It's going to make it so much easier for people living in this part of London to access central London and the economic opportunities. So it's a great, great day.
And it's been very many years in the making, of course, and you personally had a role in the 1990s in terms of trying to get this railway through. Tell me about some of the struggles over those years.
Well, in the 1990s I was in opposition in government, opposition to government, and we tried to get the Crossrail scheme through Parliament, but it failed under the John Major government. I'm very pleased to say that in 2000, when we had a Labour government, we succeeded in getting the scheme back on track, and that led on to the legislation that allowed this scheme to proceed. It involved lots of bumps on the way, including a very, very vigorous campaign to get the station here at Woolwich, and then, of course, making sure the scheme was finished after the difficulties in 2018. But it's a great, great scheme which is going to hugely improve people's lives in London, and I'm very proud to be part of it today.
It's been a bumpy few years, but to be here today, fantastic for you. What does it mean to you that it's all open now?
Well, immense pride really, but you know, it's not just me, it's the 75,000 people that have worked on this over 22 years, so I'm very proud, but I kind of honour and nod to the amazing women and men who built it.
What have been the highlights for you over the last few years?
Well, the highlight for me is pulling this railway together. You know, it's an epic civil engineering job, but as everybody knows, this is more than that. It's the world's most complex digital railway. So to convert this digital technology into something that customers can use through our drivers, the operations staff, has been a thrill.
And with the pandemic and with working from home quite the norm now, do you think there's going to be the demand over the next few years for people to use it in Elizabeth line?
You know, this is built for a design life of 120 years, and it'll last for 200 or 300. So, I mean, sure, the pandemic will have an effect over the short term, but over the thing we've built here, it'll last for centuries. So, I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah.
And what about the legacy for future infrastructure projects, High Speed 2, but possibly also Crossrail 2? Do you think that this might help to have some lessons that can be passed on?
Yeah. Well, we've worked hard to capture all the lessons, particularly HS2 are already capturing our lessons and working on them. I just really hope that Crossrail 2 gets going sometime in the next few years, because people can see the excitement and the energy, and Crossrail 2 is a fabulous program that will be required. If we don't build Crossrail 2, you know, Waterloo will overflow in the next 10 to 20 years. So let's go for Crossrail 2, that's what I say.
And what about the levelling up within a local context in terms of East London and West London? It's not just about the central section, is it? So tell me about the benefit it might provide for communities, people in Abbey Wood perhaps, or out towards Reading to the west.
Well, we're already seeing those economic benefits. If you go out line side on the east or the west, you can already see houses being built. You can see industries popping up. Here, we worked with Berkeley Homes to completely transform the Woolwich area. So that's the power of investment in world-class schemes such as this. If you bring, as we have done, over 1.5 million people into the travel zone, if you like, for central London, people who can now get into the centre really quickly. Industry, housing just naturally occurs. It's a time-proven fact. So let's push on, let's keep building in London and the South East, and let's keep building up north. That's how you achieve levelling up.
And finally, what is your favourite station of all of the new Elizabeth line stations?
Well, I have to say this is a good candidate. This is an absolutely beautiful station with the natural light here in the ticket hall, the wonderful military artistry. But to be honest, I like all of them. I love the brutalism of the Barbican ticket hall at Farringdon. I love the pinstripe at Liverpool Street, and the nod to Brunel at Paddington. This is one quality line, and it's great to see so many people out here enjoying it today.
But where next for infrastructure in London? Would you like to see more transport infrastructure projects like this?
But what we can't do is just enjoy this and not think about the future. It's really important. We've got a long-term deal from the government in relation to capital investment in TfL. We've got the Piccadilly line trains ordered, but the new signalling will transform that line, so we need new signalling. We need to make sure we get new trains for the Bakerloo line. We need to be thinking about Crossrail 2 now.
Yep.
We need a southern extension for the Bakerloo line. the moral of this story is you can't stand still. But also these big infrastructure projects benefit the country but take time. This was first talked about in the 1940s.
Yeah.
We don't want to wait 70 years before the next big one.
Of course, and 10 years ago we had the London Olympics in this great city. I just wondered if Elizabeth Line could leave a legacy a bit like the Games did 10 years ago.
Listen, I think the legacy of the Elizabeth Line will be far and beyond even what the Olympics achieved. I was using the Northern Line yesterday, and that's been around for 150 years, which means this line will be around for at least 150 years. It improves connectivity, transport links, capacity, and it's really important we invest in the future. But also, this is an example of levelling up. Trains made in Derby, the signage in Isle of Wight, the doors for the stations in Cheshire.
Sure.
So it's really important that we have more of this, not just in London, but across the country as well.
House. This is the train to Farringdon. Next station, Canary Wharf. Change for Jubilee and DLR. Train to Paddington. Next station, Whitechapel.
Doors are now closing. Please mind the closing doors.
Hello, my name is Soji Abass. I'm the station architect here. I've been involved with the design of the station for the last 12 or 13 years.
Fantastic. So we're here at Farringdon Station. Can you tell me a little bit about your work here and what you were trying to achieve from a design, from an architectural point of view?
Yes, certainly. This is one of two entrances. This is the smaller entrance. The passenger split is 80-20 between the entrance at the west and this one where we are at the east. So it's therefore small. It's the smallest ticket hall actually on the line. One of the things from a passenger point of view, one of the things that we try and do is have hopefully a column-free space, which I think we've achieved, so that there are no columns blocking people's way. We try and have minimum signage. We try and tuck the electrics and the station paraphernalia behind the PMS stand. So you've got a dedicated area where speakers, CCTV cameras and such like are located. Because they are easy to reach, they're also easy to maintain, which then gave us the freedom for expressing something about the local area at ceiling level.
And what does it mean for you today to have passengers finally using the Elizabeth line after so many years?
Absolutely amazing. The West, the other ticket hall, just to make the point, reflects something of the clockmaking heritage, and today, if you want, Hatton Garden, which is nearby. So there are lots of diamond, precious metal work, and such like themes. I mentioned clockwork. When you make a watch, you wind it up, and then at one point you release it, and then it has life. Today, we've got life in the station with people milling back and forth, and it's as if the watch has sprung. It's alive. The station is alive, and that's one thing that really does fill me with joy, and pride.
And do you think that each of the stations has its own unique feel along the central section of the Elizabeth line? Did you all try and get a distinctive style, you and then the other architects, other designers on each of the stations, do you think?
Yes, or yes and no. At platform level, there was a common theme, so that wherever you are within the central section, certainly the tunnel stations, you knew you were on the Elizabeth line. And as you rose from platform level to street level, there was something of a local area reflected in each of the ticket halls, which is why I referred to Barbican earlier here, and the use of concrete, reflecting a little bit of some of the spaces in Barbican Centre. Out here, one of the things we sought to do, because again, as I mentioned, it's the smallest ticket hall on the line, we sought to maximize the frontage of the station, especially within this rather tight urban fabric. We opened up the corners, so again, there's a sense of inside-outside.
Yes.
And as you can see, apart from the markwells, we also used Yorkstone paving in the ticket hall, again to bring the outside into the station.
Very nice.
So it's not dissimilar to the way Smithfield Market, which is just down adjoining, allowing people to pass through it at different points in time. So there's a nice blend of public space and semi-public space. By opening up the corners, we create a larger front door than we actually have.